Welcome to the Heart-Led Business Show, where compassion meets commerce and leaders lead with love. Join your host, Tom Jacobs, as he delves into the insightful conversations with visionary business leaders who defy the status quo, putting humanity first and profit second. From heartfelt strategies to inspiring stories, this podcast is your compass in the world of conscious capitalism. So buckle up and let your heart guide your business journey.
Gather around for a heartwarming tale of entrepreneurial excellence. Today we have Justin Ricklefs, Kansas City native, devoted husband, and father of 5. He's the mastermind behind Guild Collective, where clarity, connection, and creativity harmoniously collide. We'll dive into Justin's journey of transforming brands and businesses with heart-led magic. So buckle up as we explore how he's not just growing companies, but cultivating caring communities on this episode of the Heart-Led Business Show. Justin, welcome to the show. I'm really excited for today's conversation, and especially how you've been able to kind of build these communities with heart and still making profit doing it. So I'm really excited to dive into that today. But of course, the first question I always like to ask is, what's your definition of a heart-led business?
It's a great question, Tom. In its most simple form, how I like to begin conversations like this, because I'm exploring it as well for myself at our business, is using care as a competitive advantage. That's the most simple way I've tried to condense this thinking is, hey, companies, cultures, corporations, we can use care as the competitive advantage. And of course, you can't care if you don't have heart. And do businesses have hearts? Do brands have hearts? It's like, I don't know. But if we can have care as our competitive advantage, that to me signals that the heart is incredibly important. And of course it is.
Oh, yeah, of course. Now, how do you define the care?
So interesting timing. I just launched my first book into the wild, and it's called Give a Damn. Thank you. It was quite the journey, which we can talk about if we want. But thank you. And the title's Give a Damn. The subtitle is The Catalyst for Caring Companies. And the thesis was my own exploration, which we've said give a damn in our business legitimately almost for a decade now. We're about almost 10 years old. And we've said this phrase, give a damn. We put it on stickers and coffee mugs and T-shirts and hoodies, and it's like this. It's become this thing that people know us for, and that's wonderful. The phrase is compelling. It's catchy. It's slightly provocative, right? And we didn't make it up. We're not the only ones who say it, but in our community, we've become like the give a damn people. And underneath that, as I started to sit with the work, was okay. It is messy. Humanity's messy. Business is messy. It's hard. There aren't perfect formulas to follow that perfectly predict success. It's not always up and to the right. As one of my fellow entrepreneurs said, he's like, not everybody's crushing it all the time. And so to get to the point of your question, underneath that packaging of give a damn, the mantra, the mindset, the movement, however you want to describe it, are 4 really core C's, the letter C's. And for us, that ladders back up to a caring company. And the 4 are being curious, being compassionate, being clear as leaders, which that one's my most difficult, frankly. And I talk about that in the book. And then ultimately being consistent, like doing it again and again. When you screw up and you fall down and you make a mistake and you fumble it, you get back up and you try again at being curious, clear, and compassionate. And so is that like Webster's definition of care? Probably not, but it's ours. And it's what bakes the actual analogy we use in the book is a fire, like a really curated, messy, organic thing that ultimately fire takes forever to get going. And then once it's going, it provides heat and it provides warmth and it does give to others. But that is a very long-winded, meandering way to answer your question. But care to us is care is part of it for sure, but it's built on these other pillars of those 4 C's that ultimately, if we stay at it long enough, care can be the competitive advantage because then talent wants to come, be, stay, grow, invest. Clients are attracted to retain, experience something great, right? And again, it's not simple. It's not black and white. It's not either or. It's not super easy, but that's the movement of the leader, and ultimately then the business is towards how do we develop, how do we prioritize care as our competitive advantage? Because we can all just tell a million stories about experiences we've had as employees, as leaders, or as clients when the thing didn't care much about us and it didn't feel great.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. When you do have those caring moments from another company, it stands out by far
oh,
from every other experience. And it's just, wow, why doesn't everybody do this? I
100%.
remember one time I was taking a flight, and it was on my birthday, and I was just sitting at the gate, and it was United Airlines, and my name gets called up to the gate, and I was like, oh, cool. I was like, that's weird. I've already been upgraded. Huh. But I go up to the gate. The lady says, oh, Mr. Jacobs, we understand it's your birthday today. I said, yeah, it is. And she handed me a birthday card. And then when I got on the flight, of course, I'd been upgraded, and the flight attendant comes over with a nice glass of champagne. And I was like, yeah, happy birthday, Mr. Jacobs. Would you like some champagne? I was like, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Of course I would. So
100%.
that was care. United Airlines is doing that. I was like, maybe only for their platinum flyers, but still, it makes you feel.
Yes. Yeah. Did the champagne cost something? Sure. Did the birthday card cost something? Sure. But they have, and that's what's fascinating, Tom. It's a perfect story because it's like it's already in their system, their CRM, their billing info. Like they already know it because you had to fill it out on the front end. Someone like United and certainly Southwest and other bigger companies like Chick-fil-A, like people are realizing, oh, this isn't just like this cute thing that maybe every once in a while would be nice to do. It's like, no, now Tom's talking about United on this podcast and he cares a great deal about, and he probably makes buying decisions now based on how he felt in that moment on his birthday waiting for his flight. It is a direct economic advantage to give champagne to Tom and upgrade him to first class on his birthday.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And the recognition. And I think more and more businesses need to be doing just those little things. And I think we overcomplicate it sometimes in the business. And we're so focused on what do we need to do to grow our business that we're not thinking about the customer all the time and the care that we should be giving to them.
For sure. And I love telling Chick-fil-A stories because I've got a couple buddies here in Kansas City who are owner operators of Chick-fil-A's. And if you think about it, it's a pretty dangerous business model to staff your frontline worker with 16-year-olds. I have a 16-year-old, and it's a dangerous proposition.
Yep.
And what's true, though, not all the time, of course, but what's true about their brand is it can be 34 degrees in Kansas City, freezing freaking cold, and you roll up, pull the app out, pull your Apple Pay out, you order a $14 meal, and the teenager is standing in the elements. You're not talking to them through a screen. They're in the drive-through line. And they got, they're freezing cold, their face is red, they got hoodies on and all the gloves, and they're juggling like the iPad and the tap thing. And almost every time it's a pleasant exchange. It's a delight. And at the end, you're like, thank you. And they say, my pleasure. And if they don't say my pleasure, you think they should instantly be fired. You're like, what are you doing here working here? You don't say my pleasure. And it's like, that's right. That's care. And it honestly would have been cheaper from a staffing standpoint to just have the drive-through big menu board. There's a million other decisions they could have made, but they've prioritized that as their competitive advantage. And by the way, it's also more efficient. You also get more accuracy on the order. You get more frequency of return of visit. And they're crushing their competition in terms of like per restaurant revenue. And they're only open 6 days a week.
Yeah. 4 times. What I understand or saw recently is 4 times the revenue. The average is 4 times what a McDonald's would make. And they're doing it 6 days versus 7 days.
That's right.
Which is unbelievable. Yeah.
That's right.
But it comes down to that care. What a great case study, too, for a business that cares for people. So sorry we didn't go through this sooner, but tell me a little bit about your business, or tell the audience a little bit about your business and what makes it heart-led.
Sure. Yeah, nothing to be sorry about. It's Guild Collective is a brand consultancy. So we're about 10 years old, based in Kansas City, team of 7. So we're not a massive group in terms of numbers, but we are heart led. And in part, it's because it's really interesting you asked that, because we're in our own, I'd say, evolution as a business to be more declarative. This has always been true and it's always been in our essence, but we're being more declarative about building human first brands, especially, and they're lovely conversations, but there's lots of conversations about tech, right? AI and all this impact of that. And those are necessary and needed. They're not bad. But what's in all these things we're talking about with United, Southwest, Chick-fil-A, local restaurants, Will Guidera's concepts of unreasonable hospitality, the businesses that are just generating so much good and connectivity are doubling down on humanity. They're going all in when we use this little kind of provocative phrase of injecting humanity into your brand.
Yeah.
And the ones that, for us, we call that project the human first brand blueprint. And some people might say, was that a tagline or is that a marketing statement? It's this crystallized, distilled phrase that becomes the brand's heartbeat. And that's literally one of our deliverables. Like these workshops we lead end up distilling into these 2 to 4 word phrases that are the brand heartbeat. And what we believe is that when that brand heartbeat is clear and compelling, it genuinely beats through the organization. Because if the inside of the heart isn't healthy, and we relate that to the inside of the culture and the organization, if the inside's not healthy, you can't advertise your way to a healthy business. You could maybe get it there for a little bit, buy enough Google ads or billboards or whatever the like tactic is. But we've got companies that come to us and they think they have a tactic problem. Oh, we didn't invest enough in TikTok. And no, your heart's not healthy as a brand. And once it is, like that sucker beats really well and it pumps blood through the whole organization. And then those people begin to tell the story because they love working there, or they love being there, or they love the culture. And all that's a byproduct. I can get super excited about that because I do think brands these days are distracted by these tactic conversations that aren't irrelevant. There is a place for how does your business show up in AI search, 100%. But there's this other meaningful opportunity and invitation really to diagnose how the brand's heart is and then build a plan. We call it the human first brand blueprint to begin to beat that heart strong and clear so that the growth happens generatively, not in this forced way. And so, yeah, all that to say, the heart of a brand is really important. And I think to take it one step further is it's the leader's work, certainly in our organization, not like the leader. Leadership is not a title, it's a mindset mentality, but it's the leadership team's work on all sides of the equation to do their own heart work. Vulnerably, my own struggle is it's hard to connect the head and heart for me. The head is just like the natural operating system. It's like, here's the plan, here's the logic, here's the vision, here's where we're going. And then it's like, how are we going to get there? How does it feel to get there? I don't know. That integration is really important because, yes, there is a part of our buying process that's head-based. There's part of our buying process that's gut-based. But ultimately, there's a huge part of our buying processes, our career decisions that are from the heart. And I do think it's the leader's job to begin to integrate that and do the work required to understand their own feelings, their own heart, their own desires, their own delight, their own fears. And so anyhow, that's a very long answer to your question. It was a great question.
That was great. And, what you were talking too about, you can buy your way into getting more clients, but if you have a leaky bucket, they're going out the back door, then you're not really gaining anything. You're just throwing more money at it versus real working on the heart and the inside of the heart, as you say, and getting that straight so it doesn't leak blood all over the place.
Yes. And to your point earlier, some of these ideas are really simple, but we get so attached to chasing shiny new stuff.
Yeah.
An example, and like its most small business application, we work with this guy named Wade Roberts, who's a doctor of physical therapy. He is freaking awesome. He's built this beautiful golf therapy rehab and performance business. And one of our brilliant marketing ideas when we sat back down with him was, hey, when your annual clients renew, they all play golf. They love golf. They love being part of clubs, memberships, exclusive stuff. Give them a really nice Travis Mathew quarter zip with your logo on it as a gift at the renewal of the deal. It's not that brilliant. Wade was like, because he's building a business. It's so hard. He's, oh my gosh, like that touch point is so meaningful. They've invested a year here. They've built friends. They've built community. They've gotten stronger. Their golf game is improved. And that would be awesome because they'd actually wear that. And then their friends at the country club would be like, yo, what's Robert's PT? Why don't I have one of those? You can go to Robert's PT now and be a client. And so it's just these simple, again, caring human first movements in a business that we just need to sometimes clap our hands and wake up and be like, oh, what would our client really love? What would delight them right now?
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm sure there's a lot of business owners out there that are thinking, oh, yeah, this is all fine and great, but I'm struggling just to make payroll on a monthly basis, let alone being heart-led. What type of advice would you give somebody that's in that, I want to be heart-led, I got to pay the bills at the same time? Like, how do you balance making a profit and still being heart-led?
Yeah, obviously everybody's context is going to be different. For me, the BS belief I used to have was that it was either or. And it was this, hey, you got to crush it, check the humanity at the door, crush it, drive profit at the highest possible level, and F all the humanity part. Or this like super soft, coddly, codependent, you just have to be so nice. And there's a big distinction between nice and kind. And niceness sometimes is like really self-protective and not clear, and kind can be really freaking clear,
Right.
and still have a heart. And so I'm in process on all this, and there was a period of my entrepreneurial life where I would prop up I'd call it care. It wasn't even really care. It was more, please stay here and work here, and please. It was just this kind of soft, squishy, definitely more nice than kind. And I'm growing. I'm in process, and I'm getting clearer and stronger on my belief. Oh no, Truett Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, was right. Care and commerce can coexist. That's the rumor. One of his rumored kind of go-to phrases was care and commerce can coexist. And it's like, no, that's it. That's the mission. The journey I want to be on is, how do you accelerate care and accelerate growth from a healthy business profit perspective? We've learned this most of the time the hard way. When the business isn't generating enough margin and return, the leader is then afraid and fearful and scarce-minded, really hesitant, and honestly not healthy. At least that was my kind of journey.
Yeah.
But when you start to begin to get clear and you have the right team size, some of it's like you got to, and I guess in the United Airlines sense, if the United Airlines flight that you were on your birthday was going down and all those oxygen masks popped out, you wouldn't grab that sucker and be like, hey, random stranger, here's your oxygen. They tell you to put your oxygen mask on first. And I think leaders have, especially the ones that like tend towards the nice scale, they're like out there just putting oxygen on clients and the community and their team. And meanwhile, they're like gasping for a big deep breath. I think once you put that on yourself, you get clear enough in your heart and your head connection to go, oh, what is the best thing for me, not the greedy thing? What's the best, healthiest move for me as the leader? How do I then, from that place, give clarity, consistency, curiosity, and compassion so that others can benefit too? And I don't know if that's helpful from a metaphor standpoint, but I do think the tension's real, and it's too simple to think it's a binary choice of, oh, it's got to hammer profit, or you got to be super kind or super nice. I think the blend that we're all trying to find is, no, how can care and commerce coexist so that we have these cultures that are healthy, strong, generative, and ultimately, just like a good campfire would, is a gathering place for people who want to come and be around it because it's putting off warmth, not causing a lot of damage.
Yeah. And I like what you said, the distinction between care or of kindness and being nice versus being kind. And I think sometimes, especially in sales conversations where you might be struggling and you're like, I'm not sure if I really want to take on this client, but I need the money. The kind thing you would be to tell that client, look, I'm not going to work with you. And this and let them go. Because at the end of the day, if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. That to me takes a lot of courage for somebody, a business owner, to say, you know what, I don't want that business because it doesn't fit into my heart-led approach, and let it go.
Yes. And I think, to get maybe a little woo-woo with you, I think the heart is it's the source, it's the energetic field, it's the field of desire and longing. And in that is also fear. And I think back to your practical point of, if the leader's feeling that stuff and not naming it, everybody else experiences it anyway. Like everybody's running around on eggshells and tiptoes because they're like, oh man, Justin's a fearful mess, and he's out there like trying to hustle stuff because he's afraid. Like they pick that up, they feel it anyway, as opposed to going. I think transparency buzzword that's been botched a lot of ways, because it's not the leader's job to be overly transparent, because that's weird. But to name, hey, we got our work cut out for us, y'all. I'm honestly afraid of what the next 90 days look like. What do you guys think we should do? It's like, the closer I get to the heart of people building whatever size of businesses, it doesn't even matter. Nobody knows. Nobody has the perfect answer. Everybody's trying to figure it out. And so when the leader opens their hearts and says, I don't know what to do here, guys, what should we do? The team is like, here's an idea. Here's an instinct. I appreciate you being honest. I already knew the revenue was down. Let's make a damn plan and figure it out. It's a much more vulnerability in an appropriate professional context is really freaking awesome.
Yeah. I had a fitness center before I am doing what I'm doing now, but I remember a lot of the employees there on the 1st and the 15th, they knew not to come see Tom because that was payroll day. Especially on the 1st, when payroll and rent were due. Like, do not come see Tom.
And like, how's it the 1st again? We were just here.
and rent due. All I can pay for everybody. Once they figured out the margins and got the heart involved into that business, it got a lot better. And then the stress goes away, which opens up your pathway to not the scarcity mindset.
Yes.
That growth mindset.
Yeah, this one little quote that I might butcher a little bit, but this guy, I think his last name was Brenneman. He was like the chairman of Home Depot. He's a Kansas guy. He has this quote in his leadership book. Again, I might butcher it a little bit, but the concept was the leader's job is to absorb fear and exude hope. And again, I don't think that means don't tell the truth or don't be real. It is, the 1st and the 15th. I think the belief of everybody should act like an owner, it's BS. Like, no, they shouldn't. They don't know what it takes. It's not their job to be afraid on the 15th. That's right. Yeah, that's right. And so I just like that concept of, the 5th, because I felt the same stuff of, oh my gosh, like, how are we going to make it? What's going to happen? This and that. And those moments on the calendar are really tricky. And I think a leader needs some outlet for that, whether it's a partner, a spouse, a friend. I think it's really important to be in a community of other CEO types that are trying to figure this stuff out, because you can go, oh man, I'm a mess. And they're like, yeah, me too. Here's what I did when I hit that spot in the journey. It was just so helpful to be connected like that.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm lucky enough to be in a couple of those type of masterminds where we can share and really understand what's going on and do some deeper work, which helps the business in so many different ways. When you're in an island, especially now with more remote work, you're doing things by yourself. You don't always have that outlet to work with other people. Yeah.
Yes.
It's awesome. Justin, tell us, how can people learn more about you? And I know you have a book coming out as well. How can we learn about you and potentially work with you?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's a joy to be with you and have these conversations, Tom. Practically I write on LinkedIn 4 or 5 times a week, just whatever's kind of top of consciousness there. So you just search my name in LinkedIn. Would love to get connected there. I think that's a cool place where people that are sharing heart-led stories, building little communities of cool conversations. And then, yeah, on Amazon, you could just search Give a Damn, and there's a big bright yellow, I've got a copy of it right here, but big bright yellow, this is the author's copy. It has this not for resale, ugly banner, but yeah, big yellow book and a bright orange flame from a match, which is a story I'll have to read about in the book. So yeah, those two ways are probably the most practical, but yeah, I appreciate the ask.
Awesome. Justin, thank you so much for being on the show today and sharing your wisdom with the audience. Any last words of advice that you'd like to give?
I don't know about advice, but what I would say is we all need more conversations like this about how we can build care as a competitive advantage. I think that when we start telling those stories of the United Airlines and the Chick-fil-A's and the Roberts PTs, like corporations get better, and therefore it has a huge impact on community, on family life, on income levels, on quality of life, on job satisfaction. Like work shouldn't suck. This movement towards, hey, how do we build and go to places that are heart-led? So I salute you for the work you're doing to generate conversations like this, Tom.
Awesome. Thank you again for being on the show. We really do appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Tom.
Absolutely. Great. And thank you, listeners, for tuning into the show today. We really do appreciate you as well. So make sure you're checking out everything that Justin is doing. We're going to include all that down into the show notes. So you can just click there, go to his LinkedIn profile, and go check out the book on Amazon as well. And while you're down there clicking around in the show notes, there might be a little button there to give a show a rating and review. So if you could do that for us, I'd appreciate it. Just helps spread the word about the Heart-Led Business Show and helps those that are wanting to be heart-led and make a profit feel good about getting some advice and help them out along that journey. So until next time, lead with your heart.
You've been listening to the Heart-Led Business Show, hosted by Tom Jacobs. Join us next time for another inspiring journey into the heart of business.